let's go through the rest of the 1 o'clock games, starting with the Buffalo Bills at the Washington Commanders. The 2-0 Washington Commanders coming off the big comeback win last week against the Denver Broncos. Sam Howell looking really good. And then the Bills back to the road. We've seen the Bills twice this year, obviously, all teams, but struggled week one offensively against the Jets because of Josh Allen turnovers. Bounced back last week, really handed it to the Las Vegas Raiders. Which Buffalo Bills team are we going to get this week? Vegas believes the Bills are by far the better team here. 6.5, they're favored on the road against the Commanders.
Yeah, last week looked a lot more like the Buffalo we expected to see. But now, having seen that week one, any game now is a Josh Allen kind of going into it. You're like, is this going to be good Josh Allen or bad Josh Allen? Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde? Like, which one are we going to get? I tend to assume that it'll be the good one most weeks, but we now know at any given moment Josh Allen can basically implode and not stop himself from doing it. So that's something to look out for in any of these games. And Washington has the kind of defensive front to force some of those mistakes. They've got a lot of weapons up front. Chase Young coming back only adds to that group. Finally looking a little bit like the player we expected him to be coming into the NFL, albeit just sort of right at the start of his return. But if he's back, if Deron Payne is good, if Jonathan Allen is able to cook, like that's a really imposing group that can cause Buffalo's offense some real problems. And any quarterback is going to struggle more under pressure than they are usually, even though Josh Allen is one of the best in the NFL generally in his career at dealing with pressure.
Man, that's going to be my weekly matchup to watch, this Washington defensive line. You just laid it out, but Chase Young in particular made his NFL or his season debut last week. I thought he looked pretty explosive. He tracked down Russell Wilson on a sack. He had a bit of a late hit on Russell Wilson, but the burst and twitchiness looked there for Chase Young, I think for the first time, maybe since his rookie season. And if remember, Chase Young, the Commanders turned down his fifth-year option, so he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. And the other guy that's a free agent at the end of the year is Montez Sweat on the other side, who has similar production. Montez Sweat will probably see a lot of Spencer Brown at right tackle. And left tackle Deion Dawkins, after a rough preseason, looks back to Deion Dawkins' form. He's solid at left tackle. But right tackle Spencer Brown, I think he's the guy to keep an eye on here. Montez Sweat is really good, long, and effective. And that D-line for Washington can really cause some havoc for the Bills. And like you said, it comes down to what's Josh Allen going to do. I think it's going to be lazy analysis here, Sam. If Josh Allen just plays within himself, doesn't make the bad mistakes, Buffalo's better, right? I mean, most weeks, Buffalo's going to be better. Josh Allen will make some special throws. They've got tough guys to cover. They have a good, solid defense. But if Allen turns it over, he's letting any team back into it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's their biggest thing in any given week is Josh Allen going to do that? And we know, I think that week one, the reason it was so important is not because it's going to happen every single week, but it's because we know it can happen in any given week, and he can't stop it happening if it's going to happen. Like, it's just that knife edge of, are you going to get that Josh Allen rushing to the surface in any given game? But if they don't, they are comfortably the better team. They are a team that we expect to be contending at the business end of the season. And Washington, as much as they've impressed the first couple of weeks, I don't think they're there. Sam Howell has been impressive, I think, made a lot of good plays, been aggressive as well. Sam Howell's kind of doing the job that we thought Taylor Heineke might do when he came into the lineup, of just pushing it, being a little bit aggressive, relying on your abilities a little bit, and letting guys like Terry McLaurin go and make a play. Over the last couple of years, Terry McLaurin has been the best contested catch receiver in the NFL, and they're leaning into that. They're saying, put the ball in the air, give him a shot. And yeah, if it's into tight coverage, we back you to make that play. Go and make it. The problem with Heineke is he didn't for some reason. He went from being like what looked like a mini Fitzpatrick when he first got on the field to then all those big plays dried up, and he was just giving you the bad ones. But right now, Sam Howell has been doing those, and he's a bit more of a threat on the ground. I like the Washington offense, but I think on both sides of the ball, Buffalo has a little bit too much.
Yeah, the Commanders' offense has been interesting here. They're running Brian Robinson quite a bit, almost 20 carries in both games. He's been good and effective. I think Buffalo's run defense is always kind of hit or miss. They were much better last year. It wasn't like there was a few year stretch, Sam. Remember, they were just so undersized and they play light boxes and teams would have success running against them. The Jets did that in week 1 a little bit. Brees Hall breaking off at least one big play, a couple other plays in there. Curious if Washington does try to slow the game down a little bit. I think they have the ability to move the ball on the ground against Buffalo. So I think that matchup's one to watch. And then the Sam Howell thing that you said, he just started making big-time throws yesterday, or last week. Right before the half, cover 2 shot that sets up a field goal, the incredible perfect throw to Terry McLaurin in the end zone. If Sam Howell doesn't take those negative plays, man, his sack rate is still through the roof. There's still too many times he's holding on to the ball, not an offensive line situation, much like Fields. He's holding the ball way too long. But the difference is Sam Howell's creating big plays now. He's giving the McLaurin plays, like you said. He's throwing the ball down the field. I think we have a fun game here because the Commanders can hang tough because they can run it a little bit. If Howell keeps making those throws, it's close. They got the D line to keep it tight. 6.5, man. Kind of a big number, but where you going on this one?
It is a healthy number. I think the Bills can cover that, though, even on the road.
Yeah, I think the Bills might just be a team that's different at home. They have those games where they are so dominant at home the last couple of years. I'll take Washington to keep it close. I like Buffalo probably to win. I think they're a better team, but 6.5. Give me the Commanders, man. I'm talking myself into them keeping this tight next week.